Good morning, everyone. Happy June 30th. That's the holiday 4 days before the 4th of July, I think.
It is. Yes, it is, Nigel. That's right.
So, as usual, I'm Nigel Mbaik, and today I am joined with Joe Meridian, who's one of our subscription managers here at KETIV Technologies. We'll be going over, like says on the screen there, Introduction into Industry Collections. It's kind of been a long process in regards to getting here, and we'll show you exactly what you need to know for the next month and moving forward from there.
Yep.
So today we'll be going over your Autodesk licensing options. Those options have been changing. New things have been available, or not available yet, but new things will be available in the next month or so here. We're going to go over the Introduction into Industry Collections, specifically the Product Design Collection. That'll be your next transition into moving forward from your product design suites and your factory design suites. Promotions and next steps, we'll go over our current promotions, things to look at in regards to moving forward. And as usual, we're going to have a Q&A session here at the end. In regards to the Q&A, I've made this lovely slide here. I'm showing you exactly how to put your questions in the questions pane in GoToWebinar. So you can find this on your panel. Go ahead and ask away, and we'll definitely cover those at the end of the session today. So I'm sure a couple of you have seen this timeline before. Kind of explains how the subscription model has changed over the last couple of years and how it's going to change moving forward. So March of 2014, desktop subscription is introduced. It's kind of led by Adobe. It's a new model in which you don't necessarily own your license forever, but you do have it for a specific term. The year after that, they found Autodesk figured that was they're seeing a lot of success within using that subscription model. So they announced changes to perpetual that was going to happen in phases, and we've already gone through a couple of those, and we're getting to the back end of that in the next few months here. So January of this year, end of sale for non-suite perpetual licenses, meaning you couldn't buy perpetual anymore of things like AutoCAD, Inventor.
Revit's another one.
Yeah, those definitely some of those core products, but simulation and stuff that's still available today. In May, the industry collections were announced, kind of replacing the suites, whether that be product, factory, building, all of those other things. And you'll find out how you can transition from one of those to an industry collection in a bit here. And then the last two things are the things that are coming up here. At the end of July, the end of sale for suite perpetual licenses. Also, the end of sale for perpetual license of things like Vault, or your sim tools, such as Nastran and Sim Mechanical. And then the next day after that, industry collections will be available. That's August 1st. But just make a note here that industry collections are not available now. They are available after August 1st. So let's explain a couple of licensing models here. Maintenance plan. This is what most of our customers do have. You can use the word perpetual kind of in the same language here as you kind of have it forever. A couple benefits to this is you do have the latest software releases. When new software comes out, that's about March, April of each year, the new version, you do have immediate access to that as they do come out. So for example, everyone has access right now, if they're on current maintenance, to things like Inventor 2017, AutoCAD 2017, Vault 2017. Licensing ownership, you do own your license, and you can do whatever you want with it forever. As long as you do have a computer that kind of supports those system requirements.
Yeah, I just want to jump in there, Nigel. That's one of the most important things to know. If you have a perpetual license with a maintenance plan, you're going to be grandfathered in. So there's not going to be any forcing you to switch to the new platform for the subscription or for the industry collection. Some of you at some point may want to do that in the future, but it is no way going to be forced upon you. So you own the rights to use your license for as long as you like. Like you said, as long as you have hardware to support that license, it'll work. And you'll continue to get the updates if you do continue to renew your maintenance plan.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's not going away. If you do continue to renew your maintenance plan moving forward, you will have access to the new releases of everything. You don't have to have a suite to have access to the new items.
Yeah, in addition, you get cloud services. Everyone that's on this webcast that has a maintenance plan has at least 25 gigabytes of cloud data. So you can store, different things in there. It can be anything from Word documents all the way to, your actual models and assemblies that you do in Inventor or AutoCAD. So that's something that everyone has access to with a maintenance plan. And lastly, everyone that has a maintenance plan gets basic technical support from Autodesk. Autodesk provides email and online case support through your portal. So you can log into your account, log a case, email Autodesk directly, and they will support you within 24 hours. In addition to that, KETIV has what we call Lifeline, which is our additional support option that many of our customers opt for. And we have an in-house Lifeline team that consists of Nigel and a few other members of KETIV. And then we also have senior application engineers, so if it's something that's a really advanced problem, maybe a complex issue, setting up your mesh in a simulation tool, that's something that we can help with as well. Our response time is typically much quicker than Autodesk just because we have a lot, we have fewer customers and just as many resources to help you with those questions. So again, that's separate of the maintenance plan, but it is something that we do offer to all of our customers.
Definitely, and I do see a lot of Lifeline customers within this webcast right now. So hello, you all. So subscription, this is the model that they introduced a couple of years ago. Similar benefits to the maintenance plan. You do get those instant updates when new things do come out. And a couple of things are different here. So subscription, you do not necessarily own your license. You only have access to it for the term that you're subscribed for. But a benefit here is, for subscription, you do have a lower cost of entry. So, if you are not looking to spend, that large sum of dollars at once, subscription might be the way to go.
Yeah, that's correct. So in the past, if you had, say, a summer intern or somebody that you're hiring for a certain project, your only option was to, say, buy a product design suite for, $6,000 to $10,000, depending on which tier of product that you wanted. So it's a lot of an investment up front, and that might not be something that you're going to use permanently. So now with the subscription options, you can just rent software for as little as a month up to 36 months at a time. And because of that, the cost of ownership, the cost of entry is a lot lower in the beginning. And because of that, it also lets you ramp up and ramp down. So it's summer right now. We have a lot of customers that are acquiring quarterly rentals of licenses for 1 or 2 interns that they're hiring just for a few months. And in the option, in the past, that option was not available. So to hire 2 summer interns, it would cost a company, $15,000 of an investment just to get the licenses that they need. And now we're talking about cutting that way down, to be able to get quarterly licenses for, a few hundred to maybe $1,000 for a quarter, depending on the software. It's a lot easier for companies to prepare for that expense and get the tools that they need right away.
Definitely.
And just because of the inherently lower cost up front, it is reduced risk. You don't have to spend so much money up front. You don't have to worry about maintaining these tools for years and years and years just for a few months of use when they are needed. So it is reduced risk, easier to ramp up and ramp down because of that, and the lowest cost of entry point available to you. And then you still get the updates like you did with the maintenance plan. So for some customers, this is a very good option, and it's something that is really helping them adopt tools that they normally wouldn't have done so in the past.
And it kind of gives you flexibility in that case where, say, for example, you get something for 6 months, and you decide after 6 months you do need it for the rest of the year. We can accommodate those kinds of things with subscription.
Absolutely.
So here's that timeline again. Everything in gray is the things that we have passed. And just to note, the things in black are the things that are upcoming. So end of sale perpetual licenses that we want to remind you over and over again that that does end at the end of July, which is going to limit your options here in purchasing software in about half, I would say.
It is, yeah. So right now you have more options than you ever had in the past to acquire software licenses. That's not going to be the case about a month from today. So between now and the end of July, you have the option to acquire perpetual licenses of suites, vault, data management. The perpetual licenses that are still available are really in those 3 categories. You can still purchase those today. So if you have a pool of, say, 10 product design suites, you project that in a year or 2 you're going to have an additional engineer, you're going to need an additional license. It might make sense for you to acquire a perpetual license today. You'll keep your environment all the same, so you guys have the same deployment for all of your tools. In addition, perpetual licenses have a lower total cost of ownership. If you look at those, a 5-year break-even point on those. If you look at the financial between renting for 5 years versus purchasing a perpetual license today and staying on and maintaining for 5 years, you're going to save a lot of money with a perpetual license. So that's something to look into. We're happy to put together an individual plan for you specifically. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us for that. So that, again, is July 31st is the last day to buy perpetual licenses of software. It's also the last day to buy suites. So on August 1st, Autodesk is going to be making the transfer to Industry Collections, and they are going to be discontinuing the suites of licenses as well. So, if you have a suite today, you're not going to lose it. It's not going to go anywhere, but you will not be able to purchase a new one, say, on August 1st or past that date.
Right, but there is a way to go from, they already have laid out that kind of that road in which you can go from your subscription suite straight into the Industry Collection if need be. So, your investments there are safe. They're not going away at any point. Because they're releasing the new Industry Collections.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you have an engineer that's going to start work in the next week, do not be afraid to purchase a suite, a subscription of a suite today. There's going to be a really easy way to transition to the Industry Collections if you want to. Otherwise, you can continue to renew that suite, and it'll stay a suite. So you do have the option to continue to renew that if you don't want to switch over to the Industry Collections. Although I feel most of you will probably want to once we show you all the products that are going to be available in Industry Collections in just a minute here.
For sure. So why Industry Collections? So Autodesk has kind of switched from that suite model into this Industry Collection model. So what they're doing is more simplified packaging. So instead of having to choose between the plethora of suites there's about half a dozen suites. They're only going to release 3, in which most engineering is going to have to pick between 2, whether that's AEC or manufacturing. Continuous improvement. Autodesk is kind of moving away from the model in which they release one big release of product every year. They're starting with AutoCAD specifically, in which they are releasing smaller, less invasive releases, kind of similar to Inventor R2 and R3 of last year. And they're doing that instead of having you, spend 3 or 4 days installing a huge product around March and April of every year. Greater flexibility and choice. With the Industry Collections, you do get more software included, so you have more flexibility there, and because they're using that subscription model, you can ramp up and down much easier. And like I said, a greater value. You do have a greater value. There's more software in there than ever before, and we'll show you that matrix in a bit here. So it's it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. As cliche as that sounds, when you are buying new products starting August 1st, it's going to be as simple as 3 easy steps here. Selecting your product, whether that be a single product or an Industry Collection. If you need Inventor, or say for example you need Inventor as well as AutoCAD Mechanical, some data management, Vault Basic as well, that would be your first selection. The second selection would be selecting your access type. Single user access, which is your standalone licensing, or multi-user access, which is your network licensing, kind of your pool of shared licenses between a group of people. And 3, select your term length, however long you want that license to exist. And because it's this easy, Autodesk has kind of gotten rid of the suites and the decision between standard, premium, and ultimate suites. So as the wise Ozzy Osbourne once said, no more tears.
Yeah, so what's important to remember is right now, you have a product design suite, you have a building design suite, you have an infrastructure design suite, factory design suite. There's a lot of them, and then each one of those has multiple tiers. Now, building design suite, standard, premium, ultimate. Same goes for infrastructure and factory. Product design has premium and ultimate versions. Those aren't going to be around anymore. You're just going to have a product design collection. All the tools that you would need that are in the ultimate version of the product design suite ultimate are just going to be in one Industry Collection. So there's no more deciding, which tier do I need. Some of our customers have a few premium licenses and a few ultimate licenses. That's not going to be something that's going to be required anymore. You just select which one you want, and you get all the tools in it. So we're going to show you next some of the tools that are in the industry collections.
Yeah. And just to note on kind of going along the same lines as Joe did, you know, you don't have to pick anymore. We've ran into a couple of cases in Lifeline where people might have had a couple of seats of, you know, for example, Product Design Suite Premium, a couple of seats of Product Design Suite Ultimate. Those premium users do not have Inventor Professional, in which case, you know, they might not be able to, they can't use things such as cable harness or simulation. Cable harness simulation, a couple of the other tools available in Inventor Professional, that can kind of hinder your workflow if those people did need those things, kind of have to juggle those licenses around and figure out a way to do that. And that's not going to be a problem with the industry collections when everyone has everything. So let's get into the meat of it right here. It's a lot of stuff to take in. So there are only 3 industry collections available, and I'm sure the media and entertainment collection is probably not applicable to most people on this webcast right now. The product design collection is probably what most of you are looking into, being our manufacturing group of customers. This kind of replaces, you know, your things like product design suite factory, kind of puts them all together. So to note, the differences between the product design collection and something like product design suite ultimate are things like AutoCAD architecture, and factory design utilities. So some of our customers, if you went from designing products to kind of your fabrication of products, building it, and actually manufacturing it, you would need 2 seats if you wanted to do your factory layouts in factory and then do your product design in product design suite.
Yeah, that's correct. So let me back up a second real quick. So we have customers that their main job is to manufacture products. So they kind of live in Inventor, you know, maybe some AutoCAD mechanical. They'll do some rendering or some FEA analysis on their products. But in addition to that, you know, they have a group of people, or maybe themselves, that are really interested in laying out the factory to create the most efficient workflow. And in the past, you've had to have a product design suite for the people that actually, you know, design the tool, or, you know, design your products, and then a factory design suite to design your factory. We're simplifying that process. So there are some people that are on this webcast that maintain a product design suite and a factory design suite, and that's not as common as it would be to just acquire a product design collection, which includes all the tools that you need. You know, AutoCAD architecture and factory design utilities are 2 tools that were never in the product design. Most of the tools that you see here are in the product design suite ultimate, which is what you're most familiar with. So you are getting more tools. Excuse me, you're getting more tools in the product design collection than you would be in the product design suite ultimate.
Definitely.
So keep that in mind.
And so, you know, just to note the new things for that product design collection would be factory first. We're going to go over a little video here, and I'll just, you know, talk over all of this good stuff. So factory design suite, it's kind of the same deal. I guess I haven't updated this yet. So a lot of our customers, you know, they don't necessarily only do the design, they do their factory layouts as well. You know, you want to make sure you maintain the fastest workflow, the most efficient workflow to get the most products out at once. So what factory design utilities does include is, you know, a large group of assets, standard assets for factories. So your CNC machines, your robot arms. That's a lot of that is included. You know, those standard products that you might buy from someone like Mitsubishi, a couple of other ones like Brother, for example, for those CNC machines. So instead of, you know, having to generate all of these custom factory assets, you know, in AutoCAD creating blocks, you know, you can grab that standard group of objects. It's kind of like, you know, for your content center in Inventor. So you don't have to look up any more dimensions and create custom blocks and everything. The other thing the factory does really well is it finds your bottlenecks in your factory design. So say, for example, you know, you do have a bottleneck in which, you know, parts kind of get, the production slows down in that area. You can optimize that by changing your factory, you know, adding a new station here, you know, doubling up on stations here, and maintaining that proper workflow where, you know, you have people or robots always working, not necessarily wasting time or space.
And you can bring in scan data. So you can see that's laser scan data that was brought in through Recap, another tool that you'll get, you know, with the industry collections. And you can see pretty easily right there, that's a clash. You know, there's a clash detection technology built into these tools, and you can see obviously you don't want that robot arm to be in the middle of a post for the factory. That's not going to work out very well. And these can be changed very easily when they're in a digital area like this. However, you know, if that's something that you realize once you've built the factory, once you're bringing in your tools, you know, in your assembly line, that's something that's not going to be very easy to fix. So it's definitely a lot more advantageous for you to find those early in the process, rather than when you're actually moving products into the factory.
Definitely, and these things are built into, you know, tools you already know, AutoCAD and Inventor. You know, those are the two major players here in terms of designing your factory. A little bit ago, what the video showed was, say, for example, you did have a component in your factory that might not necessarily be in that library of parts. What you could do is it's really easy to author your own custom part or a component for your factory and input that within the library itself for you to use over and over again. Things like, you know, custom conveyor lengths, or even like a certain workbench with certain tooling that only is specific to exactly what you're building. The other new thing for these the product design collection is AutoCAD architecture, and it kind of goes hand in hand with factory. You know, you can't design your factory unless, you know, you have your general factory layout generated, and that's what AutoCAD architecture is for. You can most certainly do, you know, your factory layout in general AutoCAD, but, you know, it's just so much easier in architecture when things like walls, stairs, doors, and windows, they already exist within the program. It's much easier to create this than to create, you know, those custom lines everywhere, and have to do that in addition to that. Just to note, next week's AVA is all about factory design utility. So if that's something that relates to you and your business, Nathan Eliason, one of our senior application engineers here, is going to go over how to use that, you know, how easy the workflow is to kind of generate a simple factory layout for yourselves. And it's not only applicable to, you know, those huge, you know, multi-million-dollar factories. Kind of the same token works for, you know, your small shop, if you want to, you know, optimize your workflow and everything in that sense as well. So assess current and future needs. Like we said earlier, kind of beating a dead horse here, last chance for perpetual licenses. Like Joe mentioned, right now you have the most options in regards to buying your software, and half of them do go away on July 31st, which is the perpetual licenses. So if you do want to maintain a homogeneous environment, which is, you know, what a lot of you do have is current perpetual licenses, you want to maintain, you know, kind of the same thing everywhere, you can buy perpetual licenses still until July 31st. You can network existing licenses. Joe, you mind going?
Yeah. So, you know, the most popular product that our customers have is the Product Design Suite, and that is still available as a perpetual license, as Nigel just said. So you still have the ability to convert that standalone license to a network license to prepare for growth. You know, some of you might not need to do anything. Some of you might be, you know, have more licenses than you need. You might be exactly where you are, you know, where you want to be. You know, you don't project immediate growth. You're good with what you have. So really, you don't have to do anything except for make sure that you renew your maintenance and think about locking in the maintenance rates. You can renew the maintenance plan for up to 3 years at a time. So if you do that, you lock in today's rates, you guarantee that you're going to have a maintenance plan for 3 years, and you don't have to worry about the rate increasing between now and the rest of your term. But getting back to network licensing, you know, a network license, it's a one-time fee, and your recurring costs do not change. So your maintenance cost does not change if it's a standalone license or a network license. So, you know, if you're expecting some growth, but you don't know entirely what that's going to look like exactly, you can convert some of your standalone licenses to network licenses, and they can be shared in the future. And that's just a one-time fee. The recurring cost will not change. So if you compare that to the industry collections or to the subscription model, you know, network licensing, you can get a multi-user subscription of, say, AutoCAD today, and but the recurring cost is more. Every single year you have to pay the same amount as you did the first time. So the subscription rates never change, but when it's a network subscription license, the recurring cost is more than it would be for a perpetual multi-user or network license. So that's definitely something to look into a little bit further. We're happy to look at those on a case-by-case basis. I know everybody on this call is a little bit different, and that's kind of where we come in to help you realize, or help you plan, for what you need today and what you might need within the next year. So feel free to contact us anytime to discuss that. And as Nigel mentioned a minute ago, next week's AVA is going to focus on factory design utilities. We did a short little demonstration just by way of video today, but we're going to take a really in-depth look at that next week and show you exactly what that can do for you.
Mm-hmm. And how easy it is. It's crazy the simplicity of the entire process.
Exactly. So one thing I do want to bring up are the Autodesk promotions that are going on right now. So Autodesk has a promotion that's tied to the transition to the term-based licensing only. So if you have an existing maintenance or subscription contract, if you renew that, you can add additional products in conjunction with that renewal and get 40% off of the additional products. So, tools like Navisworks Manage, tools like Nastran InCAD for advanced FEA simulation, tools like Vault Professional. If you have a maintenance plan and you're going to renew that today, you can get 40% off any additional licenses. This promotion is good until July 22nd, so we have about another 3 weeks to offer you this promotion. And we can renew maintenance and subscription contracts as early as 90 days in advance. So really, anyone that is looking at acquiring additional software, please let us know, because this promotion can theoretically apply to you if you have a maintenance or a subscription license that expires between today and October 22nd. And I say October 22nd because that's roughly 90 days in advance of July 22nd when this promotion ends. So again, the main tools that are in this: Nastran InCAD, Vault Professional, Navisworks Manage, Fusion 360. There's some other cloud tools in here as well. You can definitely reach out to us to get the entire list. And we'll probably send you a link to that in the follow-up email after this AVA session as well, so you can take an in-depth look at that. In addition, there's another promotion that is not mentioned here. There's a buy one, get one half off for LT products. So if you're looking at acquiring, a couple LT licenses, if you do that between now and the 22nd of July, you'll get 50% off that second license. LT are only term licenses only, so you would have to, rent them for a year at a time. However, you will save 50% off if you do need more than one. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Again, it's going to make more sense when we sit down and look at your personal situation and put a recommendation together for you personally. So feel free to contact us anytime for that.
Definitely. So I guess every week, if you want to stay connected with KETIV, we do post everything up on all of the major social media platforms, and we do have the KETIV blog. We do post, some great industry news. All of our webcasts, including, AVA, but also some of our special webcasts that we do every couple of weeks here. If you do want to, be aware of those, we do post all of that information on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. And for those of you who are looking for more recordings, we do have all of those on our YouTube channel, and I'll go ahead and type the YouTube channel link right here into the chat box below.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to that. We realize it's pretty difficult to miss 30 or 45 minutes every single Thursday. So we do want to make those available to you to view at your convenience. And you can also share those with any of your colleagues or any of your personal friends. And anyone else that you think is available, or anyone else that you would like to invite to AVA, feel free to do that. It's absolutely free to anybody that would like to join. We like to make sure that everyone's well informed about some of the licensing changes, but more importantly, we usually show technical demonstrations on certain products, and they're very valuable to you and to our customer base. So feel free to subscribe any additional people that you think would be interested in this. Nigel has our landing page here for KETIV AVA. It's a real simple, easy way to subscribe. First name, last name, email, company name. You fill that out, you submit it, and then you'll get a welcome email to subscribe to AVA.
Definitely. So it is that easy, and you've all subscribed already, so you kind of are familiar with this page. A recent addition we've made to this page is we've added a simple way to share this with your colleagues. So if you wanted to say, for example, email a couple of people, that button is right here. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can go ahead and click one of these things. For example, I'll go ahead and click this, and it'll go straight to your LinkedIn profile and ask you if you want to share this to your page, share with the public, et cetera, and then you can go ahead and share this. What happens is this particular link will get posted on your timeline, and people will be able to see it. If you do want to share this with colleagues, friends, coworkers, it's all available through that. If you do want to find this page, it's hs.ketiv.com/AVA. You can actually not type the HS if you want. Just do ketiv.com/AVA. It'll get you straight here. If you do forget that, you can just search Autodesk Virtual Academy in Google. This is the first thing that pops up. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into Q&A. Sorry for my weird background image there. And we do have a couple of questions in the queue right now. So just a reminder, if you do have any questions about the industry collections, what they include, go ahead and type them into that chat box, and we'll definitely cover those right now. So Mark Ramsey asks, where is Vault Professional in the collections? So Vault Professional is not in the collections. The only Vault product that is included in the collections would be Vault Basic.
That's correct. So not every single product that Autodesk offers is in the industry collection. So moving forward, there's going to be products that are sold on their own. So if you just need Vault Professional, if you just need Inventor, you can still purchase those on their own. Most of our customers, most of the companies we work with need Inventor, AutoCAD, and Vault Basic. You can get that all in the industry collection at a lower cost than buying those tools individually. But there are tools like Vault Professional, Advanced Simulation, like Simulation Mechanical, Simulation CFD. Those are all going to remain separate products like they have been in the past. So those are still going to have to be acquired separately. If you are interested in Vault Professional and you have that already, it's going to be beneficial for you to acquire a perpetual license while you still can, and we can talk a little bit about the financial aspect of that. But that's really all it comes down to, is the total cost of ownership for a Vault Professional perpetual license is a lot less than it would be to rent on an annual basis via subscription.
Definitely, and if Vault Professional is something you are interested in, we did do a special webcast a couple of weeks ago with Joe. So if you want to hear our voices more, you can go to our YouTube channel and go watch that video.
Yes.
And a lot of that Vault Professional information is included there. So I have a question here from Elmer. If I transition to the new collection, does my perpetual license change to a subscription? No, it does not. So right now, the only way to go from a suite, I'm guessing you're trying, that's what you mean, Elmer, going from a suite to an industry collection would be if you had a subscription suite already. And if you do have a subscription suite of premium or ultimate level, you can switch to a industry collection when they do come out at no cost.
Yeah, so let me clarify that a little bit. So as of today, and we haven't had any information from Autodesk that is going to allow you to transition from a perpetual license to an industry collection. They have told us that that's something that will be available in the future. However, as of right now, that is not available. What is available after August 1st is the ability to take a Product Design Suite Ultimate subscription license, so a term license, and transition that to an industry collection at no charge, at least for the remainder of your contract. So say you bought a Product Design Suite Ultimate today, you would have that for a month. If you wanted to transition to an industry collection as soon as they're available, you'll have the option to do that at no cost. And then you'll have that for the 11 months remainder on your contract, and then at that time you can choose to renew the industry collection. But for perpetual licenses today, there is not a path to go from a perpetual license to an industry collection. We have been told that there will be in the future, but right now there isn't. So we always recommend keep your perpetual license on maintenance. That puts you in the best position to get, to trade that in the future if there is anything available. But even more importantly, you keep that current. The maintenance is a lot less of an annual price than the subscription or the industry collection. So if you already made an investment in a perpetual license, keep that current. The annual rates are lower for a maintenance plan because of that initial investment you've made to purchase the license. So I wouldn't suggest really trying to get rid of that as soon as possible. Keep that current, keep that up to date, consider renewing it for as long as you can, and that'll be the most cost-effective solution for you.
Definitely. And another question came here from Jeff, and Jeff's asking kind of the same thing, but say for example you want to move from something like Inventor to your Industry Collection. So you can. It's not limited to only suites migrating from your subscription suite into an Industry Collection. You can move from a subscription individual product into a Industry Collection. What you do pay is the difference in cost between that suite, or no, that particular product, and the Industry Collection.
Yeah, so let's put that in real terms, and these are not the prices of the tools, just for simplicity's sake. Let's say you bought an Inventor license, $2,000 per year, and you wanted to transfer to an Industry Collection, and the Industry Collection, say, is $2,400 a year. So there's a difference of $400, but let's say you've already gone by 6 months in your contract.
Mm-hmm.
That $400 will be prorated over that 6 months, so it'll really only cost you $200 to get into the Industry Collection. They're not going to charge you that full $400 for only 6 months of use. So you are going to be able to prorate that, and you'll just pay the difference between the two amounts, prorated over the length of the term that you have remaining. So that is definitely available. It's definitely possible. But remember, that's only possible after August 1st. Industry Collections have not been released yet. They will be released August 1st. So you couldn't do that today, but you could do that in a month from now.
From tomorrow.
From tomorrow.
Yeah, because we're almost the 4th of July. 3-day weekend, everyone. Woo!
Yeah.
So Elmer said that he wants to stay perpetual, and he has Ultimate and would like architecture. There is no path, like we mentioned, to get architecture from your Ultimate suite as of now. Like Joe mentioned, that there will be a path at some point later. That's what Autodesk has told us, and we'll definitely, as we get the news, we'll give it to you as a whole. That's for everyone.
Yeah, as of today, you're not going to be able to keep your perpetual license and add architecture. However, depending on the tools that you need in your Product Design Suite Ultimate, there may be another suite that you can transition into that will give you those tools and AutoCAD architecture. Mm-hmm. We'd have to look at that in depth. I don't know exactly what you use today, but I'm happy to take this offline and spend some time with you, personally, and figure out exactly what you need and what the best suite for you is at the moment.
Definitely. And it looks like we don't have too many questions left. A couple have just come in. From Scott. Scott mentions his Inventor Pro suite currently includes 3ds Max, Fusion, and more. Will these continue with perpetual license? I did not see them with Industry Collections.
Yeah, so for perpetual licenses, yes. So Fusion, absolutely. 3ds Max, absolutely. Inventor, absolutely. So if you have those in a perpetual license today, as long as you renew your maintenance, you'll continue to keep those. They'll remain, they'll continue to get updates as they have been in the past. There's no plans on removing those products. And in the Industry Collections, Fusion and 3ds Max are actually in there. I know we had multiple columns in there, so it might have been something that was missed. But yeah, in the Industry Collections and perpetual licenses, you definitely get Fusion and 3ds Max as well as Inventor.
Yeah,
I think Nigel's going to pull that slide up real quick here. So you can see, on the bottom left is 3ds Max, and on the top right is Fusion 360. And right in the middle of we're looking at the Product Design Collection, the yellow box in the middle. 3ds Max, Inventor Professional, and Fusion 360 are all included in that suite. So you'll definitely be able to have that. If you do have a perpetual license, you do have most of the tools in that suite already, as long as you have a Product Design Suite Ultimate, and there won't be any changes to that. So you can continue to keep that current and retain those tools.
Can I start from this slide? No. I'll just jump there real quick, just so everyone can see the slide as it is. Do we have any last-minute questions? We're still available to field some. It looks like we don't have any right now, but we'll wait a little bit in regards to that. Just to reiterate, you can't buy perpetuals until July 31st. Sorry, I'm beating a dead horse here, but if you do project that you're going to be using something like your Product Design Suite for the next 5 years, you are actually saving money over subscribing for 5 years, correct, Joe?
Correct, yeah. So in today's dollars, the total cost of ownership of a perpetual license is less than the total cost of ownership for a subscription or an Industry Collection. Now, if you're only going to use a license for 2 years, then you wouldn't reach the break-even point because there is a significant investment for a perpetual license. So it really depends on your situation, your individual situation. You know, if you're going to use a tool for a year or 2 years, then it would make more sense for you just to rent it for a year or two. If you're planning on hiring an additional engineer, you know that that spot is going to be full, you know, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, then it would be very beneficial to acquire a perpetual license today to keep your environment all the same and to keep your costs low. So that's something to look at. And again, you know, it changes definitely with the you know, with your individual situation. So, you know, feel free to contact us. One thing too, I know, you know, once we close this, there's always a few more questions that come in. You can always, you know, contact us directly, or you can email questions@ketiv.com.
Yep.
Questions plural @ketiv.com. That'll go to a few of us here. We'll redirect it to the correct individual and get that answered for you as soon as we can.
Indeed. So we have a couple more questions here. Alex asked, is pricing available for the suites, and if so, where can I find it?
So for the suites, yeah, the pricing is definitely available.
Sorry, Industry Collections.
If you're talking about Industry Collections, it has been announced for single user only. The multi-user pricing hasn't been announced yet. If it follows the same plan as it had in the past, like an AutoCAD, you know, multi-user versus single-user license, the single user is about 50% less than the multi-user. In other words, the multi-user is 50% more than the single user. But it is available. We can send the link out after this, but just so you know, the prices are available for Product Design Collection. I think it's about $2,400 per year to rent that. We'll confirm that when we send out the link to you. But they are available for single user for these 3 collections.
Definitely. And then Alex also asked another question. Is this recording available for me to share or look at later? So yes, it is available. I did put the YouTube link there in the chat box. Go ahead and go to that. This particular video, should be available sometime tonight or tomorrow, depending on our internet bandwidth and whether or not it wants to cooperate with us. And so that's the same thing with all of our other webcasts. If you want to look at any of our older webcasts, you know, you want to freshen up on things like, you know, bill of materials configuration or iLogic automation, that's all available to you within the. And you know, if you do have any questions about those topics, go ahead and leave a comment on any of those videos, and I'll see that directly. I'll go ahead and address that as we move forward.
Absolutely.
So with that, I think that's it for today. We don't have any more questions. If you do have any that you think of after this, go ahead and email questions@ketiv.com, like Joe did say, or you can leave them in the after webinar survey that is available to you after you close this window. So instead of saying that's how the cookie crumbles, let's mention that Ozzy Osbourne said, "No more tears."
No more tears. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you. Have a great 3-day weekend. That's another big thing. So yeah, adios.
See you later.